Hello everyone, welcome back to the Crypt of Horrors at long last. Hopefully you had a great holiday. I certainly did. As the ridiculous haul of great stuff that we're going to show off today can attest to. So first of all, we're just going to start with a few things I picked up the week before. So this is the NECA Captain Blake figure that came out during the summer and has been pretty difficult to find up until a little while ago. So it's kind of a funny story with this. I went to this comic shop that carries NECA figures. Like, I called before I got there, and they're like, no, we don't have any, sorry. And my friend was like, well, let's just stop it anyway. So I'm checking out, and I asked, hey, are you sure you guys don't have that Captain Blake figure? And they're like, no, we don't. And then one guy was like, well, maybe. And he goes in the back, and they had exactly one. So, kind of a lucky break that sort of defined how December collecting went. So, in that same trip, we also found the Herbert West figure that we'd been kind of looking forward to for a while. So, I used to not like the clothed NECA figures, but these have been kind of growing on me, and the Herbert West figure is pretty nice. So, comes with like all his traditional stuff, including the cat and Dr. Hill. Just kind of that would be if it was easier to like open these open and reseal these clamshells, I would totally play with these. But because of how I display them, you know, I basically just like hang them up on the wall. I can't really get in there and mess with that, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah, I'm just happy to have it. So because most of my figure collecting tends to be just like Freddy's and Jason's, because that's, you know, most of what gets put out there, and I like variety, so it was really great to discover those two around town. This is a little bit of a cheat item. So one of my favorite authors is Steve Alton, who wrote the Meg series and a lot of other stuff. So if you've seen the Meg, well, that's him. The book is a lot better, I promise. And anyway, so this is one of his earlier works from around the mid-2000s. So this is a book I've read before. It's also the only book I've ever pre-ordered. Back when I was in high school, I think. So it's The Loch. It's basically just like a Loch Ness Monster story, but it does some pretty cool things with the plot and like its theory about like what the creature is. So he offered this special edition version of it through his website, which came signed. Which I don't know if yeah, I kind of wish he'd signed it a little bit larger, but you know, it's still pretty damn cool. And the main reason I wanted this is because the new edition has like this big section in the back. It's like the science behind the lock. You know, just kind of like a behind-the-scenes sort of section in the back. And I am always a sucker for that stuff. So plus the cover is really nice too. So I'm gonna enjoy revisiting this because I don't think I've read this story for quite a while. It's been at least 5 years. So, a little bit of a cheat item. So, like everybody else, I got involved in the Smash Bros. Hysteria, and I found a Ridley amiibo, which Ridley's pretty close to a horror character, right? I know I cheated, sorry guys. So, moving on to actual title releases. So it only took them, what, 8-9 weeks, something ridiculous, but Vinegar Syndrome finally shipped Blood Harvest, and the slipcover did not disappoint. It is really nice. So I haven't gotten to check it out yet, but you know, looking forward to it. So it's kind of funny. It's like I interviewed the director of this, and I didn't really know what we were talking about at the time. It was actually helping someone else out on their interview with Bill Rebane, and there was I need to go back to that interview and pay better attention after I see this so that I'll know what the heck he was talking about. So, another thing that I had been pretty excited about for a while, the Call of Cthulhu has gotten a lot of praise, and I can finally play it now that school has calmed down for a month or so. So, bit of a sad pickup here. The Friday the 13th, the game's soundtrack, which they said, it's gonna start shipping. Like, I ordered this as a backer. At the time, I couldn't afford the art book, and I found the money for it, and I missed the window to order an art book by about an hour. So I've been communicating with them and trying to see if I can maybe somebody returned theirs or didn't want one. But the reason it's sad is because they said they were only going to ship the art books and soundtracks once all the content for the game was finished, and they definitely weren't releasing anything, which the lawsuit put an end to everything, but there was still kind of hope that, maybe they'd be able to at least finish, the map and JSON that they were working on. But the coming of this kind of indicates, nope, it's over. On the other hand, it is pretty cool. So I haven't gotten to listen to it yet, but I played the game a lot, so, it's not like I haven't heard the music. But I didn't expect it to be a 2-disc release, though, so it's probably got some good value. Then we have the Shout Factory Piranha 2 from Best Buy. So, a little bit of a unique case here. So, I was at Best Buy, I've been looking at this. Every time I went to Best Buy, I had been looking at this and wanting to pick it up. And on the last time I went, something had happened to the case. Somebody just, crushed it. You can see it's pretty badly cracked up. And so I asked one of the store guys, it's like, hey, what do you guys do with stuff like this usually? It's like, oh, we just throw it out. It's like, oh, would you mark it down, if I wanted to buy it? It's like, well, the best we could do is $5, and it's like, well, 15 was kind of the acceptable price point for this, considering the really sad lack of extras. So we went with it, and thus far I do not regret my decision. So, another nice Shout Factory surprise. We found Darkman with the slipcover at this record shop around here that every once in a while has inexplicably great stuff. This is such an old Shout title. Why is the slipcover still there? So, I've never gotten to see Darkman, so I'm looking forward to that. Another thing that I've never seen, shamefully, is the I Know What You Did Last Summer series, which, again, a lot of 90s and mid-2000s horror, kind of just passed me by. But this was on clearance at half price, and so I thought, well, okay, this is probably our best shot to actually see both of these. So, and it looks like there's a fairly good amount of extras on the first movie. So, I don't know, I don't actually know how many of these there are. So, feel free to rage at me in the comments about my ignorance of that franchise. Whoop. Moving back here. I kind of like this. It's got, the suspense thing going. Moving on. So, yet another trip to used movie land. So we found Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, in full. This is one of those... I'm not actually sure who puts these out, these, rewind collections. MVD. Okay, I guess they are called MVD. Whoop. So, but I've seen a handful of titles, in this particular release line. Abominable's one. I can't remember the names of the other ones, sorry. But, it's this is a movie that I feel like I should love, note the rich art on both discs. So this is one of those weird cult movies that I feel like I should love. I hear the idea, I hear the tone, and it's this should be great. I should love this. But every time I try to see it, it just falls flat on its face for me. So we're gonna try yet again. So I found this reasonably cheap too. It was on sale. I think this cost me $12 or something. It really wasn't that bad. and still has like the poster and like all the stuff. That's what's kind of nice about these NVD releases. Like you get like a little like thing inside, and it's not like a 60-page essay like with some Arrow titles. Which I mean, it's fine. I do like to read. It's just I don't want to read all the time. You know, you only have so much stamina/energy for things, and when you buy movies like I do, having a giant book to go through can really slow down the process. So I think The Last House on the Left sat on my shelf for like 3 months because it's like, oh, that book is so thick and I have so much other reading to do. In the same trip, we found Arrow's Return of the Killer Tomatoes, which does have a fairly thick, well, okay, it's not too bad looking. Does indeed have a 12 pages. I guess that's not so bad. Comes with the essay as usual. Oh, reversible art. I didn't notice that before. Let's check that out. So I guess it's like their new poster, and I guess that was the original. Because you know, when it comes to Killer Tomatoes, I'm old enough to have seen the cartoon air, but not really anything beyond that. So I kind of hope I can find the cartoon at some point after having seen these, and then it'll be like, oh, that's what that was supposed to be. Because I remember watching it and liking it, just being really, really confused. It's like, what's happening? So, and then this was kind of an insane movie trip that a lot of these were picked up on. So we just went on like a rampage, like as a break from finals. We found Darkman 2. Which apparently there are 3 Darkmans. And the nicest thing was it was in this place's like super dump bin. It's like stuff that they were really overstocked on, so 75 cents. Yeah. We also have this weird looking Killer Pig movie, which, you know, I can get that off. You know, I kind of hate it when people like write their names on stuff because it's always work for having to like clean the disc up or like sell it or whatever, but I can get that off of rubbing alcohol, thankfully. So, from what I can tell, this just looks like a fun monster movie that I kind of always wanted to see, but you know, it's never quite been like at an attractive price point. And there actually seems to be quite a bit of extra content on this, so it should be fun. I don't expect it to be as good as, say, Razorback, but it should be fun. Moving back to collectibles, so I was at the store in my hometown. Ooh, I wish I'd noticed that. Fuck. And they had a poster for, well, a little mini poster for Pool Party Massacre, signed by the director and I think one of the artists. It's kind of hard to read. So one of the things I hate about certain like signatures is when they're just like, you know, initials or like squiggle. You know, like sometimes. My handwriting's not great either, but you know, it's recognizable, damn it. So I haven't gotten to see this movie, but most people have said I'd probably like it. So, plus it was very cheap. I did not notice that it was like creased up here at the top, but you know, whatever. Like if I end up not wanting it, like I have a friend who's already like offered something in trade. And then we're gonna cap off with just a couple of random non-horror things that I still wanted to talk about anyway. So I found this like Life is Strange, like Chloe and Rachel set that was, well, I just thought it was cute. Plus it was worth an awful lot of money on eBay, and the place I got it from had it for like $6, so it's like, I can't leave this here. And I like that game, you know, I'm complicated. And even though Star Wars is ruined and dead forever, this Wampa thing looked pretty cool. Like, the arm comes off and shit. Because I always wanted a Wampa, like, when I was little, and really, really into Star Wars toys. But there was never a really good one available, so this is something I'm going to actually open up and put up on my shelf. And our last thing of the day, that's snags on my set, which I worked all of whatever to build. So, my mask that I normally wear. Because I got a new mask. So, review video on this thing coming in soon, but I'm really digging it. So, well, it was quite a ridiculous haul. Like, oh, yeah, forgot about something. So the reason my Christmas was so great is because, so a little bit of background. So when I was younger, I had, we all had that relative who had like way cooler toys than us. And mine, well, they were going through their basement and they were trying to decide, what do we do with some of this stuff? And it's like, well, we have all these Ghostbuster toys. Now, I wonder who would want them. So, my cousin, as I reveal too much, so, my cousin gave me the Ghostbusters Firehouse in basically mint condition for Christmas, which I am so stoked by, because I did have one of these too, but I was really rough on my stuff as a kid, and I really, trashed my things. But it is so nice to have this, as a display piece. So, it is missing, a handful of parts, because of kind of the nature of, how they, went about discovering it. It's like, oh yeah, we found it. And it's like, we know we have the other parts somewhere, which indeed they do. They're waiting for me in a box at their house. But, you almost could not ask for one in better condition than this, short of getting one still sealed in the box. I did have to kind of wash it out a bit, but I am still just so happy to have it. Plus, it turns out they have the Ecto-1, like the car, and several of the ghosts to go with it. In addition to, this was missing the containment unit, which they found, and also the Ghostbusters sign that goes here in these two holes, which, even if they didn't find that, I still have mine. So, this is going to look so great on my shelf. So, all in all, it was a pretty awesome Christmas. Well, Christmas season, at least. So, yeah. Well, join us next time for more fun with collectibles and movies. Hopefully you like what we do. Like, share, and subscribe. Feel free to engage me in the comments, because I like to rant. So you can find me on Twitter at the Crypt of Horrors. And we'll be back fairly soon with even more content for you. And we're actually going to try uploading it on time, because we're not, super stupid busy for at least a couple of weeks. So, thanks for watching. Have a great night.